Happy Monday, friends. This week I'm inside Joshua Tree National Park and I'm getting ready to head out on a wonderful hike that I'll be sharing with you next week here on the blog. But today I'm slowing down a little bit and just enjoying the Jumbo Rocks campground. And I'm going to answer some of the questions I get asked most about my gear, and I'm going to share some of my favorite travel gifts in time for the upcoming holiday season, in case you need to treat yourself or someone special. Now make sure to stay to the end of this video because I have a special little gift for you. Consider it a little Christmas present for joining me on this year's adventures. I'm gonna start with the travel gear question I received the most this year on Instagram, and that is, what hat am I always wearing? So this question is always so funny to me because some people seem to really love the hats that I wear and some people seem offended that I'm even wearing a hat. So let me start by saying that my dad actually suffered from skin cancer, and as I watched him battle that, I knew I wanted to protect myself as much as possible. So hats just kind of became a natural best friend for me out on the hiking trails. Most days you'll find me wearing one of my hats from American Hat Makers, and this one is actually the Jawa style. I love it because of the natural brown color. I can just toss it on with about any outfit, and the brim is wide enough. I feel like it protects me from the sun, but not so big that I can't get into my car at the end of a long day hiking. So this is probably the hat you'll find me in on most of my adventures, but I actually have a few different designs from American Hat Makers. They're a family-owned business here in California that's been designing and creating these hats for over 50 years. And I've never tried a hat from them that I haven't loved and worn well. I won't say worn out because if you've seen all the adventures I've taken this hat on, and it still looks pretty new, so I guess I'll keep putting it to the test. And I'll try to pop a few of the other styles I have here somewhere on the screen. And I'll link American Hat Makers down in the description of this video if you're interested in checking them out for yourself. The next question I get asked most on the blog is always about my hiking footwear. And I average probably at least 100 miles a month, so I do spend a fair amount of time in my hiking footwear. Today, I'm relaxing in my Kodiak boots. I call these my everyday boots because whether I'm heading to the grocery store, hanging out in my backyard garden, or going on one of my favorite local hiking trails, these are the most comfy boots I own. Now, I wouldn't take these on super rugged trails or hikes for more than like 6 miles a day probably, but my Kodiak Fernie boots are so comfortable. I've actually crashed in them at the end of a long day hiking, and they've kept my feet warm and comfy all night long. Not that that's something I would necessarily recommend. I do have a full blog post, and I'll make sure to link it here on my favorite hiking footwear, including some of my favorite shoes for hiking those intense trails like my Danners here. So I'll link all of that information in the description of this video below. Since we're talking footwear, I personally am a huge proponent of wool socks, and today I'm wearing the Woolx Merino wool socks. I love these. They wick sweat, they absorb moisture. Merino wool socks are great for hiking in both hot and cold climates because they are temperature regulating, and these socks are just super soft and they have added arch support. I love Woolx socks, but I actually discovered this brand through their outerwear. So after ordering a Shacket online and not being really happy with the quality, I started looking at wool Shackets and I found Woolx. I purchased this and it was a bit of an investment piece for me, but it's one of my favorite and most worn garments in my closet. I've gone on countless adventures with it, and this is great ultra heavyweight merino wool. What surprised me though is I thought I'd only wear this in cold weather, but it's become a year-round go-to for me, and the only problem is I wish I could get it in every color option they have. So if you're looking for kind of a classic oversized Shacket that's super comfortable, I highly recommend Woolx, and I'll link this in the description below. One of the reasons I'm in Joshua Tree this week is to capture the night sky. So last year I started heading out on Milky Way adventures, and I got an Insta360 to help me capture some star lap footage, and I soon fell in love. Now, this little camera packs quite the punch. If you're familiar with Insta360s, you already know that. But I've built up quite an arsenal of Insta360 equipment, and I want to share more of that with you. So I'm working on a full blog post with all of my vlogging camera gear, from my iPhone and the tripods there all the way up to my Canon. I'm going to work on that, and hopefully I'll get that up pretty quickly for you. But the Insta360 is really a go-to on my adventures. I've got this little guy all set up, and we're going to see what the stars look like this evening. I first became familiar and interested in Insta360 with the incredible star lapse you can capture so easily, but there's so much more, specifically the extended edition selfie stick. This is incredible for places particularly like Joshua Tree National Park, where drones are absolutely not permitted. You can get some incredible views overhead, all from your selfie stick and Insta360. When I need to charge my Insta360, my iPhone, or even my Canon camera, I have a Jackery. Now, this is a portable power station, and as someone who is capturing content on all my adventures, this is easily at the top of my adventure list of things I will not leave home without. I have the Explorer 240, and it charges my camera battery, smartphone, laptop, tablets, you name it. This is great for camping trips and emergency backup power, just anytime I might need it. Speaking of things that my Jackery charges, okay, my next travel essential might be a bit of a personal indulgence, but I love when I can go camping with this. After a series of national park road trips, I decided to order a portable car kettle water boiler off of Amazon, and this has been my favorite thing. So I just plug it into my Jackery when I'm camping, which I love, but you can also plug it into your car when you're on a road trip. And something that really sets this particular water boiler above the rest is in less than 15 minutes, I can have hot water for hot cocoa or oatmeal. And there are so many others on the market I've tried that take half an hour, even close to an hour to get that hot water. Also, it has an auto shut off. It's food grade stainless steel. So I definitely don't leave home without this. In fact, it just lives in my car. When it comes to camping, Nate and I love everything from cowboy camping, our trusty Chevy pop-up tent, and this is actually our Quest Rec 3-person tent. It's a wonderful starter tent. It's 42 square feet and really easy to get up and down. But if you are just getting out camping for the first time, our first tent was actually a nightcap, and this is a pop-up tent. I still love this tent, and we use it often. It is so spacious and really easy to pop both up and down. So either of these would be great options if you're just starting to get out camping for the first time and want to dip your toes. While I'm sitting here, there are two travel essentials that I've actually shared here before, but I think that just speaks to how essential they really are to me. Now, I shared both of these products first back in 2021, and I am still using them. So the first is my Cliq Chair. This has been my go-to camping chair for over 3 years, this exact chair. So the setup and takedown is so easy. I've taken it to almost every national park in California, and if you've seen my night star shoots at Tunnel View or the sunrise shoots, I am shooting and sitting in this all night long, so you know it's comfortable and clearly durable, because I have been, again, using this exact chair and dragging it all across California with me for years. So I love Cliq Chair. Now, the other travel essential I take with me might seem a little odd, but this is just so important, and it is Leefy. So I take Leefy Prana, and this is actually an inflammation support. It's a turmeric support. When I'm out on long hikes, this has been my go-to for any sort of inflammation and pain management, and they have a few different options here. I also love the Nidra. So this is a tart cherry drop, and this is what I use to go to sleep after long plane rides, or when I'm sleeping in a tent. I absolutely love love it. And I wake up refreshed, not drowsy at all. And then my newest and my favorite has to be Immunity. So this is an elderberry defense blend, and I'm actually going to show you. This has organic yellow onion, garlic, ginger, elderberry, and oregano oil. So it sounds maybe a little funky, and it smells a little bit like honey, garlic, onions. It intimidated me when I first tried it, but it's actually really sweet tasting. It's like a sweet elderberry. I'm actually gonna get a new bottle pretty soon, but this is my go-to. Even if I have a glimmer of a hint that I think I might be under the weather, it's amazing. I can't even say enough good things. And so yeah, this comes camping, this comes on plane trips, you name it. I love Leefy. I cannot recommend it enough. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end of today's post, because the last travel essential I want to share with you is actually my own. So Nate and I started our Etsy account for SuddenlySee last year, and it was a fun way for us to share our national parks bucket lists. And Nate's great t-shirt designs. We have mugs and incredible prints of Nate's award-winning photography. So we would love it if you check out our Etsy shop. I'm going to link all the details in the description of this video below. And as a thank you for sticking around to the end of this week's video, I want to make sure that you know about my email list, because I'm sending out a Christmas email to everyone that signed up on my email list, and I'm giving away our free Yosemite Half-Dome Traveler's Guide, which is so much fun, and a Joshua Tree Best Rock Formations one sheet. So make sure to get your hands on those free gifts. It's a little Christmas present from me to you. And until next week, I hope you find adventure and encouragement wherever you go.